I work on multimodal reasoning at OpenAI.
Hi, I'm Eric Mitchell. I work on post-training along with lots of other folks for our O-series models.
All right, we're going to show you some things that O3 can do. I'll start with a science example. So this will be a physics poster. So I'm going to let O3 start thinking now so it can take its time. What I'm going to feed it is a poster of some physics internship that I did in 2015, so 10 years ago. And this poster, or the project, was supposed to estimate a quantity called the proton isovector scalar charge. It's a beyond the standard model of particle physics quantity that tells you how short-range interactions, how strong they are. And what you'll see is that the model, O3, is zooming in. It's kind of like browsing around. Here, I'll zoom out just so we get a little bit better view. And it is kind of looking for the right quantities for the question I asked it, which is to basically find this result that I had and compare it to recent literature. But there's a small twist. The result actually isn't in the poster, and that's because I didn't have it yet. Although it's in like the final paper for this project, it's not in this poster, and I'm actually asking O3 to do the rest of the project for me, essentially.
Uses the same trick at OpenAI.
Yeah. It's true. Great. So it found the plot that I wanted it to find. It's supposed to figure out that it needs to like find the slope of this plot, extrapolate down to a specific like physical quark mass, and then like grab that quantity, and then actually apply another quantity to normalize that value. And I think it has already kind of figured out that this is what it should do, but it is just spending a little bit more time exploring the image. Okay, it's good. It's now gonna browse the web for recent results.
Yeah, why is it searching the web?
Well, I think I actually did I ask it? I said, oh yeah, find any recent findings that have like updated estimates. So now it's like just looking at like the literature and seeing what people have done and how it compares to the result that it thinks that I eventually arrived at.
And how long do you think it would take you to do this task?
Quite a long time. Yeah, so I mean, it took me a long time just to remember what my poster even meant in the first place. And I also didn't even realize that the result wasn't there when I first asked it this question. It actually told me that, which was nice. So many days just for me to even like onboard myself back to my project, and then a few days more probably to actually like search through the literature. And I mean, it must have just read at least like 10 different papers in a few seconds for me. So that's a huge time savings. Great, so it has summarized my result here, and these numbers look correct to me. So it's figured out like there's like this unnormalized value that it's like estimated by extrapolating, and that when you multiply by this specific constant, that it will renormalize it. And it says, okay, you would have ended up with this, which is somewhat close. I think it ended up around like 1.2 in my paper. And then it compares with the actual literature here. So there's a few different estimates, and looks a little close, I'd say. So let's see what it says. It says my bear value looks high because it needs to be renormalized. That's correct.
What it did is
after you multiply by that, you get something that's more consistent with the state-of-the-art
a lot of work training this model.
But it says my precision isn't as good as the state-of-the-art, which is fine. It was an internship.
Not bad.
Exactly. So I'll take it. So it seems like it's still a reasonable estimate that maybe has a little bit more uncertainty than recent result, which is great. So the field has made progress, which is awesome to see.
That's such a cool example.
That's super cool.
Cool. Now I'll hand it off to Eric for his example.
Cool. Yeah, it's tough to go after a demo like that, but I'm gonna show another aspect of O3's capabilities that I also think is super cool. As Mark and Greg have said, one of the cool things about these models is they can use all of the tools that we have available in ChatGPT. So I just turned on memory.
Like I said, tools are super important. That was one of the major things, tools.
And I'll get this one started.
By the way, if you want to join the stream and you have something to chat about, we can just kind of comment. I can invite you to the back end.
Even cutting edge
join me in the conversation.
Fields. But even if you're not literally a researcher in particle physics, this new intelligence and these sort of more agentic kind of abilities to use tools is still useful, and it can still be very valuable for you as well. And so what I've asked O3 here is just based on what you know about me. So it has access to memories now.
And also to just note that
and teach me something that I probably didn't know, but that I would find
as
really
the
cool
largest or like the best ability to reason and think. You've seen thinking in other models, but this is AI's best reasoning model ever.
Some potentially relevant, interesting things. And here I've also asked it to actually plot some, some data or information that I could put in a blog post if I wanted to tell people about this cool new fact. And so what it's done here is some of my interests are scuba diving and playing music. And so it's sort of combined these interests, and it's actually found this line of research that was actually kind of mind-blowing to me, which I didn't know about until I actually was working on this demo, where researchers actually make recordings of healthy coral reefs, and then they literally play back those recordings underwater with an underwater speaker, and that actually accelerates the settlement of new coral and even fish to sort of heal that coral reef and have it regenerate more quickly. And so this is like an actual line of research in like coral reef preservation. And it was a very cool sort of synthesis of like both, like underwater, like exploration and also music. And so here we have a nice blog post. So the model is sort of smoothly both browsing. It's using advanced data analysis to show and plot some data for me. It's using Canvas to generate a blog post. And it's, summarizing at the end with some citations, what it found and where it got those results from. So again, these models are super, super smart, which is awesome. And I'm really, really excited about it. And I think this new intelligence and sort of ability to use tools will be useful whether you are, literally at the frontiers of some scientific field, or you are, integrating this model in your everyday workflows.
Yeah.
I wonder if what you can maybe play sound for a physicist too, and it would improve their results.
Yeah, what should we play at work?
Yeah, we should the sound of a healthy
physicist. What does a healthy physicist sound like, Brandon?
I'll look into that. I'll ask O3.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you guys both for showing these really compelling demos. Next, we'll have Wenda and we'll have Ananya come on and talk a little bit about how the models are trained and also what the evals are like.
Great.
Yeah,
Thanks,
this part is one of the part I was actually I'm looking at
super incredible.
How are
really
they trained? How did they get to where they are now?
Doing
just beyond the
highly
surface.
personalized.
Beyond
And to me, the magic is that under the hood, it's still just next token prediction.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's just
the guesses, the probability engine thing I talked about.
Exactly.
It's still guessing, right? That's like the basic of all pieces of all the models.
Hi, I'm Wenda. I'm a researcher at OpenAI, and I work on scaling RL systems.
I'm Ananya. I'm a researcher at OpenAI, and I worked on some of the algorithms for these models. So we wanted to start out by showing some results on standard benchmarks for these models in math, coding, and science. So in these plots, the dark yellow bars are the new set of models, and the light yellow bars are the old set of models. And we see a pretty substantial boost. So on Amy, which is a hard math contest, o4-mini gets 99% accuracy with tools, pretty much saturating the eval. On code forces, these models get over 2,700. Which place them in the top 200 contestants in the world.
This one's.
And GPQA is a set of hard PhD level questions, and O3 gets over 83%, which is pretty incredible.
Pretty good.
We want to go beyond the eval numbers, which are incredible, and show you a little bit how our model uses tools in order to solve those problems.
Yeah, like I said, tooling, the ability to use tools. When you provide tools, how much of that context of tools does it get? And that is a big one that's really great.
And count the number of combinations of coloring that verify some constraints. And let's see how the model does it.
Yeah, so the way the model thinks is really cool. So it starts out by producing a brute force program and then runs it using a Python interpreter.
Brute force.
And it gets the right answer, which is 82. But this is messy, right? It's pretty inelegant.
Yep.
And the model recognizes that and then simplifies its solution and comes up with a smarter way of doing things. It then also double checks its answer to increase its reliability, which is kind of neat.
Okay, so it starts out with
now these models are not just trained to output the right answer, they're also trained to be useful. So in this case, it now gives the solution in words to explain it to a human. What I found really cool here was we didn't train the model to use certain strategies directly. We didn't say, simplify your solution or double check. It just organically learns to do these things, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's super cool that comes up with essentially the intelligent solution here that a human would be able to do, whereas the first brute force solution, of course, you would never have time to
do just like the way you want to solve a problem, you just make it work and then you make it better. That's like...
So Beyond
getting closer
math science,
to
we also want to share,
human
a lot of you,
sort of
I know, use these models for
processing,
coding. I
right?
want to share some practical coding benchmarks. So on Sweetlancer, Sweetbench, and Ada Polyglot, we achieve state-of-the-art results
again.
with the model
Code
when it's allowed to use
benchmarks.
tools end-to-end without any harness or any specific things like this. And to illustrate a bit more, I want to share a Sweetbench example with all of you. So for this example, I'm running it with o3 in the API with access to the container tool. Unfortunately, it will take us a couple more weeks to put the final polish on a tool running in the API. And so you won't be able to run this today, but I want to share this because.
Okay, so another important thing, the API does not have the
problem
tool
the model
thing,
is asking
right?
tackle is the following.
I think that's what you just said.
Concerning a bug in this package called SymPy, which is a Python package which is used to manipulate symbolic mathematics. And I'm prompting the model with the question, and I'm also giving the model access to a container, which is a virtual machine, with the SymPy repository preloaded. So the model has access to a shell with all the code already there, and the model will have to figure out the bug. So the cool thing is that the model starts by just double checking what I'm saying and seeing whether it observes the same thing. Like I would do when someone bugs me about something, I'm just going to check, is it actually a problem? And the model does see, oh yeah, it seems to print out max of 2x with the round brackets and the square brackets.
I bug Wendell a lot, and he does that.
And it always has good questions though, so yeah. And then after this, just to double check, it will check that sign is now rendering correctly. So this is the square brackets, it's the internal behavior, and it's the bug we're checking.
You saw that.
And so the model will go around and browse the code and try to kind of get the lay of the land of the repository. And to do this, it just uses common terminal tools that Ananya or me might use in our day-to-day work. So like it lists the files, it opens the file with sed, and it will kind of print out the relevant files and try to find what it's looking for. After some browsing, eventually the model figures out that maybe it can check this thing called the MRO, which is a Python construct that tells you about the inheritance of the class. And then based on the previous knowledge that the model has acquired, it notices that something is wrong, and this class does not inherit from function, but from application. And so the model browses around it a bit more, and eventually figures out that there's a good solution here. We can change.
Okay, so what I'm noticing is this model is behaving like an agent, right? This is what you usually have agentic systems do. So do this thing first, do this second, do this start. But if this is just out of the box, wait, and a model, this is interesting because like it's doing the first thing, making make sense, and progressively increasing complexity.
This route was actually
final solution, right?
Of Sweetbench, and there were about 22 interactions and 16,000 tokens.
In some cases, the model uses more than 100 container interactions, and on average, it uses 37. So it's pretty cool that it can do these long rollouts with so many container interactions and get the right answer.
Yeah, doing a rollout that long with reliability is not trivial at all.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
We also wanted to show some numbers for standard multimodal benchmarks. And these numbers are just crazy on MMMU, MathVista, Charchive, and VStar. So we really hope these models are useful for your multimodal tasks as well.
Yeah, this is really, applying the reasoning paradigm to multimodal, which was previously not possible, and now.
Oh, so if you don't know what multimodality is, this word essentially, this word, it means that the model can process both texts, images, and any other sort of like interaction that we use. So text, images, the common ones.
As you can see,
that's what it means.
O3 model is able to get close to.
And this Manitilax exam is a benchmark
that
much fewer rate limits in by SEAL guys.
So we think
test
it's a very
model,
cool if you do not need a full report back what deep research produces, but instead are still interested in some agentic behavior.
And it seems that these guys are currently going crazy with tooling and stuff like that.
In these plots, we show the performance on the y-axis against the estimated inference cost on the x-axis. And we see that o4-mini is quite a bit better than o3-mini for any given inference cost.
Additionally, one thing that is not shown here is that o4-mini is a multimodal model, unlike o3-mini. So if you need a small and fast multimodal reasoning model, yeah, I'm very excited for you guys to try out o4-mini.
The results for O3 are even more stark. You can see that it can get the same performance with way less inference cost. And if you're willing to pay the same amount as O1, then you get a much higher score. So these are pretty amazing models.
Yeah, and this is why we're going to replace the O1 models with the new ones.
Yes. One thing we should mention.
I think they are replacing O1
due to
the
optimizations we've done to make the reasoning more cost efficient,
it's
and
better.
the model more useful in general.
Replace the old ones migrate the GPU resources for training those ones, migrate to the new guys. That's like the kind of cycle that we saw that with the
up and down.
announcement,
gone up
right?
to multimodal, for example.
So
we still think that this is a much better model because it's much more optimized for real world use cases, and you won't have to wait as long when you're asking for an answer, which is a real thing with these reasoning models.
Really?
People are impatient.
I am impatient.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So these models are a result of a lot of rigorous science, ingenuity, and craftsmanship. And we put in more than 10 times the training compute of O1 to produce O3. And it was a lot of hard work by lots and lots of people, but the end result was really beautiful to see. As we scaled up compute on the x-axis, the performance on evals like Amy just kept going up.
Yeah, so this is really us,
compute,
going and retracing our steps through the GPT series, right, which was the stuff
exponentially, I guess.
pre-training, and now the goal is really we're trying to get
all
through
this
this gaining in
crazy
RL
numbers
and showing that
so
as we put in
O1,
more RL compute, we're also able
but
to get
more training, more performance.
So what will O4 look like?
Yeah, I think if we just draw the line, 110%.
You heard it here first.
Great. We're so excited for you to try out the model.
Thank you. So we've shown you the models,
so
but we have
more training might replace O1,
here to show that
and they do exceptionally well with tool calling, and even without tools, they still perform crazy numbers. So let's see. Next one.
I'm Fuad on the agents research team.
Agents, like I said, agents.
I remember seeing a couple years ago the Codex demo, and it's just so wild to see how far we've come with these new sweet bench numbers.
Yeah, that model in that demo.
Anytime they say sweet, it means software engineering.
Called vibe coding.
I think, yeah, sweet benchmark, software engineering benchmarks.
What a great term! I wish we had it at the time. And we called that model Codex because it really captures the fact that code is so integral to what we were trying to train the model to do. And so today, what we're going to show you is the continuation of the Codex legacy. We're going to be releasing a series of applications that we think will define what the future of programming looks like. And today, we're starting with the first one.
Great. Yeah. Today, we're excited to share Codex CLI. It's a lightweight interface to connect our models to our users and their computers. You can think of it like a reference implementation for how to safely deploy code executing agents where you need them. It's built on top of public APIs like the Responses API, taking advantage of new features like chain of thought summaries in that API, and our latest models like O3 and O4-mini with multimodal reasoning capabilities. But enough talk, let's actually see a demo. Michael?
Awesome. So I went online to see what people had built with O3-mini. And so I found this cool image to ASCII generator. The author said that they built it with O3, but I'm pretty sure they meant O3-mini. So
unless they were time travel.
Yeah, right. And so so I thought today we would re-implement this using Codex and o4-mini just from the post. And so I'll start out actually, but just by taking a screenshot. And I'll take the screenshot and I'll drag it to my terminal. And so I'll give it to Codex. And so as you can see, I've passed it in using the image flag. And so Codex will start using that multimodal reasoning that we saw earlier from o4-mini.
And one amazing thing about using these models directly on your computers, you can take any file, any code base that you're working in, just go and grab that, put it into Codex. And here we can actually see some of that chain of thought that we were talking about earlier. It's asking for some clarifying questions, thinking about things, and then it actually looked at the image and even suggested a few things that we might want to do with it. What did you have in mind?
I thought we would just re-implement what we saw in the post.
Yeah, but since we're live, maybe we'll make it a little bit more fun. Let's add the web camera API, and just for the folks watching on the live stream, maybe let's make sure we keep it in the 16:9. I don't want some really small little video, but I'm going to go and try that.
That sounds bold, but I like it. All right, so now it's going.
So while it's thinking, I think one of the amazing things about Codex is that you can actually see it both think and also run the tools directly on your machine. So like what they mentioned earlier with function calling and the API, you can actually expose any of the existing functions that you would use, and in the future we'll have the full suite of tools you'll be able to use in the API. And while it's thinking, do you want to maybe talk a little bit about how it actually runs the commands? We can start to see it actually running some commands now.
Yeah, so by default, Codex runs in what we call suggest mode. And so as it's running, it suggests commands to edit or commands to run or files to edit, and you get to approve each one. But that can get a bit tedious. And so for the sake of the demo, I ran it in what we call full auto mode.
Yeah, and a little bit about full auto mode. It's a mode where you can allow the agent to go off and do its work, but still stay safe and secure. So it's able to run commands network disabled and limit the edits that it makes to the directory that you ran it in. So it gives you the peace of mind of actually having something that can go off and do things, but without the risks that come with just letting it run whatever command it wants. It looks like it's pretty fast, so it's already done.
It's already done.
So I'm going to go and pull it up.
Yeah, so it said it created this ASCII HTML file. So let's go pull that up. Got to give it some permissions.
Always need some permissions.
And let's see.
Oh,
nice.
I was like, it even had a little width slider.
Let's see.
Not quite what I thought a width slider would do.
Oh, but it's low res us.
I do love the low res version. Greg, you want to say hi?
There we go. Hi. Nice.
Amazing. So as you can see, it's so fun to use Codex. We've been using Codex to actually build Codex, and we're incredibly excited to see what you do with it now that it's fully available. And not only is the tool available, but we're also open sourcing all the code. So you can go up, as of a few minutes ago, to our GitHub, OpenAI/Codex, and go check it out. You can even use Codex to explain the repo to you. We're incredibly excited to see what you do. Alongside Codex CLI, we're also announcing a $1 million open source initiative to support projects with API credits using our latest models, using Codex CLI to accelerate the frontier of open source. We'll have a link in our research blog post for more information, but with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Mark.
Thank you both.
Yeah. Thank you both so much. I want to talk a little bit more about ChatGPT availability. So starting today, if you are a Pro Plus Team subscriber, we're going to start rolling out access to O3, o4-mini, and o4-mini High. And as you saw from Ananya's post, these are strictly better than the previous generation of models. So they will be replacing the O1 and o3-mini series of models that we had before. You're going to have to wait a week if you are enterprise or EDU. And if you use O1 Pro today and you love it, we are going to roll out O3 Pro, but it will take us some time to make sure all of the last remaining features are tied up.
We are also releasing these models in the API. In upcoming weeks, we will release tool usage in the API as well. So that will be really exciting to see what people do with them. These models, huge amount of work making them available from the entire team. And so it's been a real labor of love to bring these to the world. And we really view them as a major step forward in our mission of bringing AGI to benefit all of humanity. And so they're very useful for scientific applications, but we also think that they will be useful in your daily life. And so please use them, explore what they're capable of, and we're just so excited to see what you'll do with them. Thank you.
Thank you to the team.
Yeah, I think that's it. Is this a break period or like that's all the announcement? But anyways, what do you guys think? We got new models. We have wait a second. How do I make this bigger? This was an impromptu stream, by the way. I saw the announcement and I said, you know what? I gotta stream. Yeah, so I need to find out to just disable this. I'm gonna wait a second. And I think that's the end of the stream. I need to find out the link to the Codex thing for those that are interested. OpenAI.com/Codex, I guess that's it. Nah, that's wrong. Let me search Codex. Yes. Okay, so there's an open source fund, by the way, if you want to. OpenAI.com announcing the OpenAI O3 and o4-mini. Yeah, so that's the announcement that we just saw. And oh yeah, GPT 4.1 was the one I announced previously. That was I think 2 days ago or yesterday. It's raining model, guys. It's raining models. And everyone seems to be building on the other models on some things, and that is normal. Of course, there's gonna be improvement. If not, then what is it? But this is our smartest and most capable models to date with full tool access. Like I emphasized on, this model was done with tooling in mind, and that's one of the things they demonstrated. Thinking, the most advanced reasoning model, and most capable in the sense that it has tool access and it does perform great with tools. And if you don't understand what tools are, these are like So when you tell a model to do something, it can access, let's say you've written a particular code somewhere that does something. So you want to get a time. So you can tell, oh, what's the time? The model knows that you're asking for the time. It identifies that there's a code somewhere that you've given it that it can use to get the time. So it calls that function, it calls that tool, and it gets the time and presents it to you. So more like giving models the ability to actually fetch data, fetch things, and take action. There's a tiny POC I did recently that this was the backbone of making it work. Tool calling. It's a very good one for building apps that needs to work with AI and stuff. So this is the release introducing OpenAI o3 and o4-mini, our smartest and most capable models to date. Smartest and most capable is like the highlight here. And yeah, so o3 is the most powerful reasoning model and pushes the frontier across coding, math, science, visual perception, and more. And it now sets a new benchmark. I like this because I don't know about pricing though. I don't know if this is going to affect the price in any way, but I do like this because the more these tools get better, the more for me, the more for you guys to actually use them to do what you need them to do, and they do them well. That's just like the cycle we are right now. AI, the model gets better. We get what we want from them, and it takes more jobs. That's a conversation for another day. I'm not going to get into that, but I don't believe it does anyways. I believe there's a balance anyways, but don't let us get into that dicey statement. So they tested it on some benchmarks, the IME competition maths. And like I said in my previous video, I said benchmarking is when you give AI some set of questions. It could be a range of AI's set of questions, and you can use this to test their performance. That's how you can know and track their growth and track their skill and how they perform with these things. So, for example, O1 was tested on this thing, on this math competition, which I imagine is a bunch of math evaluation questions, right? And it did what it did. Why does this thing look like? I must have messed up with this. Give me a moment to change this stuff to the appropriate thing. Show screen brush. I want this, not that. Yes, this. Okay. So math competition, they gave it this bunch of things and it did 74.3%. Good. And then now we have the o4-mini. By the way, I think I should increase this screen. I'm not sure it's visible. Yeah, this should be much better. Or maybe like this. Yeah, great. So you have the new ones performing with this, and this with Python only. And then you also have code competition. Codeforce is a platform that you can go, if you want to get better at competitive coding. They've probably scripted all those questions and given it to the model. And you can see that we have improvement with o3 and o4-mini being the new champions in this race. Benchmarking, this is how you can tell your models are getting better if they perform better than the other models on the same test that all of them are taking. So it's like evaluation. So this is just for people that don't really understand what's going on with all this graph here. So when you see something like this, just know that it's these guys, o4 and o3-mini, did not do great. They did good as at the time they were this probably were the champions. And then now we have the new kings, which is what OpenAI just released, the o3-mini with no tools. No tools mean this particular model does not have tools, or and o4-mini also done with no tools, add no tools to access and things like that. Then humanities last exam. Humanities last exam is it's also an evaluation question. I saw it as well. Yes, I mentioned it during my video, the last video. Very short one, by the way. Another one is multimodality. I don't like this color. Let me change it to something less scary. I think blue works. Okay. Yeah, multimodality. And like I said during the stream, when you see multimodality, just imagine that different models can do different things, right? If a model can only handle text, it's not a multimodal model. If it can handle text and images, then it's a multimodal model. So it's multimodal ET, right? Just for education, So of course, because they do good, that's why they're shining and all that stuff. Just when you see it, just know that it's just a comparison scale, like I said. Don't be scared, because at first I was scared of what's going on here, but just means something is doing well than the other ones. And also just take note of these three, because these are the ones that we announced recently. These other ones are like the Defender, like the previous models. So of course they are doing really good with all the tests. Software engineering benchmarks, O3, O4, with O3 being like the leader in this case with 69.1 and 68.1. Do you guys even check this stuff out? Like, some of these things, I just keep them. But I needed to understand, because it's very important to know what's going on. Then instruction following and agentic tool use. Yes, this is the part where, like, this is one of the major focus of this release. They have them, like, see these guys doing really well. But enough of that. Yeah, more compute equals to better performance. That's just it. Like, if you train, the way this thing works is you train them, you give them text, they figure out the relationship between these words, they understand text more, they can use that to do things, right? Now, if you train them longer, train them with more stuff, you train them with more, give them more compute, they perform better. It's the game. So if you see a model released tomorrow, just imagine it's probably been trained better. Sometimes they are trained better at one thing. So, for example, for 4.1, they said they release it for developers. I think I can just skip out to that, right? Yeah. So, introducing GPT 4.1 the API. Yes, 3 models GPT 4.1, and these models outperform 4.0 GPT 4.0 mini across the board with major gains in coding and instruction following. This 4.1 was done with developers in mind. So is performing exceptionally well in one thing. So this is also one of the reasons why understanding when to use a particular model for a certain thing comes into play, right? What exactly do you need to do? And more importantly, what model performs great in those things? That is like also one of the ways you can say I'm an AI engineer, when you can understand models capabilities and what it does well. For example, if you want to do multimodal stuff, you might not use something like I'm not sure O1 is a multimodal. Let me see. One multimodal. I don't think it is. And the best way to know is if you go to your OpenAI, your ChatGPT interface, and you try to give it images and it rejects it, you know it's not multimodal. It can only handle text. But it's not bad. It just does better with that. It has not been taught these other things, right? Then also, like, the O3 and o4-mini are good with images. They like you saw in the live stream, the guy gave it this thing. He gave it just, oh no, that was Codex. Sorry, I'm already into swapping them. So this is multimodal. It can deal with images as well. And toward agentic tool use, yes. Like I mentioned during the live stream, the process and thinking of this O3 and o4-mini resembled what you would have in an agentic use case, right? The guy, one of the presenters during the announcement did a simple thing. Let's say, for example, how we saw more energy usage in California compared to last year. So the model was able to go stepwise on its own to do things. And that is what you would have in an agentic environment. And I saw that and I said, okay, this is interesting, where if you are building an agentic system, you would build certain, more like you're building certain mini tools, right? Like these agents can do this thing especially well, like very well. So let's say you want to get the weather, and agents can check the time, and agents can check the country, and agents can check this, and then together they do things in process together to get the actual weather of the country, right? They just demo something that resembled that process. So with O1, it seemed like the thing. I don't want to. Let me just see if I can search through. That's gonna take time. Let me just explain it. So, like, it could go through this thing and figure out the process and steps on its own. Like, okay, this is a problem. It checked whether there's an actual problem there. Oh, verified. There's an issue with this thing. The next thing is, how do what exactly do we need to do? Then from there, until it got all the context it needed on its own, and then executed and figured out the problem. And then there was also another demonstration of it doing. So it gave it a problem. This is a coding test. Find me the answers. And the agent and Owen, I'm not sure whether it's O3 or o4-mini used. It solved the problem just by brute forcing it. Like, it just got an answer. So it used a bunch of for loops. I highlighted in the video, if you go back a bit, it used a bunch of for loops and it got to the eventual answer. And then after that, it took that brute force problem, just getting to the right answer, and then it optimized it, made it better, made it cleaner. So just like an human would do. So usually when you're given a problem, a math problem, the way I do it is I just get to the answer, right? And then after that, I go back to the solution and see what steps am I repeating? Is there a better way to do this? And what exactly can I optimize during this process? Some way with coding, you call the API, you use fetch, you do everything, you scatter everything around, everywhere is rowdy, right? And then after you've gotten it to work, you go back and clean up. And that was something that this model was demonstrated to do. And I think that's pretty neat, right? Anyways, so that is the release, and that's the announcement from this model recently. The announcement literally just like less than 30 minutes ago. And I'm excited for this. This means that we have more stuff to play with, more tools and models that actually do the things we need them to do. I don't know if there's going to be any increase or like changes in pricing and stuff like that. And but if you want to check this out, oh yeah, before I forget, yeah, you should definitely look at Codex. So they now have something called Codex. So Codex is a CLI tool that can help you write code, similar to what you have with Claude Code. I don't want to open Claude because this is an OpenAI stream, right? So, what's it called? Anthropic has Claude Code. Claude Code. Anthropic. Yeah. So the same way you have Claude Code with Anthropic, which is like Claude Code is an agentic coding tool that lives in your terminal, right? Understands your code base and helps you code faster through natural language commands, right? I have tested it. I downloaded it. I did something and then I just forgot about it, right? There's so many tools. It's a crazy ecosystem right now. So many things are eating you left, right, and center. I think the best thing to do just right is just figure out what works for you, stick to that, and then explore other things. Because if you jump around and you jump ship every day, you would be confused, you would be lost, and more importantly, you might not make significant improvements to your workflow because it's going to be all disrupted with every announcement. Because this guy's literally announced 4.1 model yesterday, and now we have o4-mini. If there was something I was doing with that and I just jump ship, exploration is good, right? But I think it's just figure out which one works, and then incrementally, like with small changes, you make changes over time rather than jump around. So I have Claude Code, I have Ada, I have I think I installed a bunch of CLI tools. The only thing I use at the end of the day is Cursor, which I'm trying to not stick to because I want to try out Tray. I have Windsurf, I have everything installed, downloaded, opened my tab, signed in, logged in. Yes, enough of that rant. Let's go back to what we're saying. Claude Code overview. So it's the same thing like Claude Code, but now I think so. Codex is OpenAI's version of that. OpenAI Codex, and I think they're plugging in one of their models into it. But a very interesting thing they mentioned that I thought I could highlight is, in case you are interested in this, is the Codex Open Source Fund. And they are launching a $1 million initiative supporting open source projects to use the Codex CLI and OpenAI models. And if you do use it, you would they would support you. If you're an open source project and you use the Codex tool and whatever, they'll support you and you get a grant of like $25,000 in API credits, which I would say is a good one because these things can be expensive, depends on what you're doing. And by the way, I think this is something that if you have an idea in mind and it's going to be open source, you can start building and apply for this because we do need you to have some AI features in your tooling or whatever. It's good. It's fun. Okay, so I think I don't want to blabber on about whatnot, but that's all the major things they announced. By the way, if you want to check this out, I would drop the link somewhere around this video once again. And there's a lot of stuff to unpack here. You can check out and have fun with it. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. I would next time maybe I will try and keep this more consistent. Next time I'll probably have someone join me on stage. We can have a chat about it, about the announcement or whatever. But like I said, this was very impromptu. This was very impromptu, right? This was very impromptu. I never planned to do this, not at all. And here I am. Okay. Sam Altman just tweeted something. This is how crazy this is. He just tweeted something. Let me just check it out. Sam Altman just tweeted something, and I thought this was very important to see. We expect to release O3 Pro to the Pro tier in a few weeks. O3 and o4-mini are super good at coding, so we are releasing a new product, Codex CLI, to make them easier to use. Yes, I just said that. You see, I just said it. O3 and o4-mini are super good at coding. So apart from 4.1, which was trained essentially on instruction following and things like that, these guys are also good at coding. I wouldn't know until I test them, right? And these things are pricey. Like, if you guys can get me credits, I would love to test these things out and share them with you. But a couple $5 here and there, and then you burn out of credits, and now you're back, right? So O3 and o4-mini are out. They are very capable. O4-mini is ridiculously good deal for the price. They can use and combine every tool within ChatGPT. Tool. Remember the emphasis on tooling. Multimodal understanding is particularly impressive. Yes, check them out. O4 and o4-mini are super good at coding, releasing a product, Codex CLI. Codex CLI, like I said, is alternative or competitor or the rival to Claude Code, which is using their models in a form of tool, their codes, right? You know, everybody's building something that codes right now, right? You know, Canva just dropped like a massive thing. Oh, I have 30 people on. That's interesting. Oh, I should do this more often. And I should probably get someone on stage because it can get boring. But right now I'm just talking. I don't know if nobody's listening. Okay, so O4 and o3-mini, super good at coding. Codex CLI. I'll probably make a video of me testing it or using it, but it's a coding agent, runs on your computer, fully open source, available today. We expect it to rapidly improve. I should probably also find like, let me see if we pasted a link to the stuff. Yes. I'm gonna retweet it. Oh, I'm just gonna copy it. I'm gonna copy it. I thought it was by this guy I thought it was Sam Altman that like tweeted it. Let me just copy it, create a new post, paste it. Open AI. I'm text tweeting live, so in case you see, just like it. OpenAI Codex is open source. A coding a on-machine coding agent CLI tool. Okay, I'm just gonna put this here. I'm gonna also put this here just to make it look more poppy. Yeah, so give it a like. I should grab that as well and share in the chat. I don't know who is seeing. I don't even know who's watching this. But I see 33 people here, so I'm kind of like, this might be something to do more often. And if the gods of the internet allow me to stream. Okay, so this is the first stream. Really excited for this. I had a good time and we saw the announcement together. More is, I'm gonna do more of this, and more, maybe I'm gonna bring somebody in the next one. I don't know who that would be, but I'll find someone that would fit the conversation, and I'm gonna come online with them and we're gonna chat about what is going on. So what do you think? What do you think of this? And I would really love to hear your feedback on this particular one. If you see there's still StreamYard on the top of my live stream somewhere, should be here. I think it's flipped. I'm not sure, right here. I did it impromptu, guys. This was me thinking, oh, let's go, and I did it. So, and I'm thinking I'm gonna do this consistently now. find something to say, find something new to share, come online, share with you guys, maybe even have a particular time of the day to get this going. But if you want to hear more of this, see more of this, you know what to do. Give me a follow, give me a like, retweet this. Or if you don't want to do any of those stuff, just go out there, check out these things yourself and use them, learn them, get positioned properly, because these things are not going anywhere. They are coming to stay, right? And it's only going to get more better, get faster, and the competition thickens. And if you don't join early, maybe you don't know what's going on later, right? Yeah, so if I don't stop now, I'll probably keep babbling on, right? I'll keep talking. I don't want to keep talking. So I will sign out now and I will log out. I could not see the comments in the chat, so I don't even know if you guys are saying something. I can't really see them. So, but I see 33 people watching. That's good for me. All right. So thank you. And we've come to the end of the stream. Enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.